Everyone's doing well whenever you tune into this, whether you catch me live or catch me later. So, I want to talk about this nationwide emergency alert test. If you're not up on this story, this is basically an effort, a program, whatever the hell you want to call it, to a test to basically bring in the cell phone network into a national emergency alert system. So it's like in the old days. A lot of younger people might not remember this, but you'd be watching television back in the 80s and 90s, even early 2000s, and you'd be watching something on television, and all of a sudden you'd see like, you get this sound, and they'd say, "This is the test of the emergency broadcast system. Had this is not an emergency. Had there been an actual emergency, you would receive a message from the government, or whoever loves you, right? And wants to, protect you and cuddle you." So the television used to do it. Now that people are glued to their cell phones, they're bringing the cell phone network into this. So I'm going to give you my take on that. That's basically the deal here. I'm going to tie it into the astrology. So I'm making this I'm on the east coast of the U.S. It's October the 3rd. It's afternoon of October the 3rd, 2023. Tomorrow, here in America, coast to coast, we're going to have this. It's going to be a half hour. It's going to start about 2:20 and last for about a half hour. And so this is using the 5G network. So basically everyone's phone, which is not an airplane mode, is going to sound this emergency tone, and a message is going to come through for it, and all that kind of shit. So that is on the surface ostensibly what it's all about. Now, other people have different opinions about what this is all about. Like I said, it is using the 5G network. I think the 5G network is certainly untested. We don't know what it does over long periods of time when humans, animals, and plants are exposed to it. We just don't know. A couple of years of testing doesn't tell you shit. Really, 100 years doesn't tell you much either. But anyway, so we don't know. Now, a lot of people are talking about, the holy anointing of the needlecraft. Put chemicals into people that will react to 5G signals. I don't doubt that at all. That's entirely possible. I'm not a scientist. I don't really read all that deeply into this shit. I just know. If all these dirtbag, cokehead, alcoholic politicians who work for the drug companies and the banks and the hedge funds are telling you to get something, and state governments are offering free lap dances, free beers, free shots, free donuts, burgers, and fries to get this anointing of the needlecraft, probably not a good idea. And I know that ulterior motives and agendas abound in this world. So anyway, I didn't read too deeply into it, but I just know don't fucking get it. Now the whole 5G component, yeah, it might react with some of those chemicals in the needlecraft. I can't rule that out. And judging by sort of how scientists work, and like on a good day, they're basically chimps who don't manage to burn the house down. There could be some interaction between what was in that needlecraft, that syringe full of needlecraft, and the 5G signals interacting with it. Who the fuck knows, right? And I don't think it's a great thing to hang out near 5G towers either. Now, anyway, let's get into this. This is like the latest truth or scare. Okay. People are like, they're trying to find pockets that aren't covered with the 5G network, and they want to get in there and wait the test out. And there's other information saying, no, the test is 2 hours long. I don't fucking know. But I think this is more fear porn. Let's look at porn. What is pornography, okay? What's pornography? People usually think of pornography as sex films, sex magazines, stuff like that. Pornography, though, there's a broader definition. Pornography is a form of art that doesn't convey anything deeper. It doesn't stir the deep archetypes within you, and bring them to the surface. It doesn't stir some underlying truth within you that you couldn't articulate. But then once you experience that art, you hear that music, you read the story, you watch the film, you watch the show, you see the play, you see the painting, the sculpture, whatever it is. When you experience the art, it brings a deeper truth out of you that you couldn't have conveyed and articulated on your own. And it helps you to put words to sort of what you always knew. This is why storytelling is so powerful, and this is why stories are passed down for thousands of years. And it's really a pity how underrated, fiction and stories and mythology can be. Because they're all very true in some ways. So that's what pornography is not. That's what real art, deep art is. Now, what pornography does, it either shows you things that you long for or things that you're terrified of. And what it does is it stimulates your emotions and it stimulates your hormonal reactions. And basically, we get high off of our hormonal reactions. Now, emotions are very tied into this. What we experience as emotions, our thoughts basically stimulate our bodies, and then we have these very visceral physical emotions. So you watch something, you're longing for, like, I don't know, let's say you haven't gotten laid in like a long time. You're watching some porn. You're getting high off of your body's chemicals and you're fantasizing about having sex. So that is like, that's the type of porn that simulates, replicates something desirable that you want. Then there's like fear and terror and anger porn. These types of pornography, what they do is they show you things that horrify you. They show you horrible possible futures. They discuss horrible possible futures that may come to pass. So the news does this all day. But it's not just legacy media. It's not just CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, BBC. It's not just them. Alternative media does it too, because after the pandemic started, all these people, and I'm not going to name names, but all these people in the alternative media and the truth movement, they figured out they could quit their day jobs if they just scared the shit out of people, just like the mainstream media. But they were telling the truth instead. That's the distinction and the justification in their minds. And they also, like the mainstream media, will discuss with you and present to you all these horrible situations that may come to pass in order to grip your attention so that you'll pay for paid subscriptions and buy their books and their videos and, book sessions with them, coaching sessions or whatever the fuck with them. Astrology sessions, astrologers were playing the fear porn. So yeah, pornography, it's a product of someone's creativity that just stimulates your emotions and your hormonal reactions, whether they're positive or negative. So that whole long thing, I just sort of gave a rundown of what pornography is. So I think what the alternative media is saying about this whole, what's the term, nationwide emergency alert test, there's a lot of fear porn surrounding this. Now, at the very least, what this is going to do, if your phone is connected to the cell network, it's probably going to put a bunch of spyware into your phone. Now, they did one of these in the UK back in, what the hell was that? Was it like May or June? It was, it was like early summer when they did it. It may have been April, but no earlier than that. They did one of these in Britain, and there was no mass die-off. So, and that's one of the scenarios. That's one of the fear porn scenarios, which is possible, but nothing in the last 3 years has been like sudden and decisive. It's all, the system is fucking crumbling little by little. And it's like nothing has happened suddenly. But the thing is, with centuries of this Christian programming, Islamic Judeo programming, especially Christian programming, we absolutely crave and we're addicted to this whole Armageddon rapture end of the world scenario. And we've learned how to become almost like sexually excited and titillated by like doom and disaster, because these churches have been telling you, you're not good enough the way you are, and you need to meet Jehovah's impossible standards of perfection, or you're going to hell. And then narcissists do this thing called love bombing. So the God of the Old Testament, definitely an aggressive, genocidal narcissist. Well, then he brings in his son Jesus, who's a nice guy. So when narcissists, when they know that they're losing your trust after just being abusive and aggressive, then they love bomb you and they get all nice. But even with the love bombing, when Jesus enters the stage, there's still all this fear that you're not good enough because you don't meet these impossible standards and follow all of Jehovah's rules. It's like good cop, bad cop in an interrogation. You got Jehovah as the bad cop, you got Jesus as a good cop. At least as the churches relate it to us. So, where was I going with that? Lost my place. Oh, yeah. So the Armageddon addiction. So centuries of being in these religions, these biblical religions, whose religious institutions are run by psychopathic narcissists, and they tell you things like your soul is separate from God and you'll never be, if only if you follow all the rules to perfection will your soul be united with God. That's very abusive. So after centuries of this, we've learned how to get addicted to terror, fear, all that shit. So yeah, I think this whole nationwide emergency alert test, there's a lot of this going on. So like I said, not advisable to sit under a 5G tower. But, this is not this isn't the end coming finally. We're not going to get off that easy. We're not going to get wiped out. We're not going to have a tsunami. We're not going to have like a mega virus that kills 99% of people. We're not going to get nuked. We're not going to get hit with an asteroid. It's going to be worse. And you know what that worse is? That worse is all of us having to deal with our feelings. That's what we're going to have to deal with. People would rather die horribly than deal with their feelings. So, this whole nationwide emergency alert test, I think this is another way for people to indulge in their fear and get all excited and get all high on their stress hormones. That's what I think. So it's like, you could use this as a good day to just go out and be in nature. If you drop the fear, you just say, you know what? These towers are spitting all kinds of fucking signals, and because these cell signals definitely change the feel of an area. Things feel different than they used to before we had all of these signals flying through the atmosphere. So this could be a good day, tomorrow, October 4th, could be a good day to just go out and be out in nature. But, If it's more about, hiding from the signal, it's like you're still going to have that fear in there and something else is going to attach to it. So if you're absolutely afraid of this, then, do what you must and, go get out of the way. Airports, I think within a 2-mile radius of an airport, you can't have 5G towers because they fuck with the communications for the planes, and it could cause some kind of, accident, some kind of air disaster. So that's an alternative. Go hang out near an airport or something. But yeah, if you're deeply and truly afraid of this, then yes, this radiation could stick to you and cause you all kinds of problems. And it's your fear facilitating the whole thing. So yeah, this is an opportunity to deal with our fear. So rather than indulge in it and indulge in our resistance to it, sit with it and deal with it. And maybe do some kind of energy practice, rather than, like running for the hills. But, there's no wrong answer. So that's my attitude. I think we've got some fear porn here that's, that we're predisposed to indulging in because of these religions we've had for centuries that keep us in fear and keep us in a mentality of like low self-esteem and worthlessness. And even people who are like scientific atheists, they still have this mentality because they've grown up in this culture. And when you have that mindset, you're small and everything can hurt you. So that's the value of raising your consciousness and not relying on your intellect to figure everything out, to think your way through everything. Because you can't think your way through everything, especially your emotions. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Have a nice one. Oh, actually, before I go, the astrology. So yeah. So this nationwide emergency alert test, October the 4th. Well, today, October the 3rd. Interesting conjunction, one that happens every 2 years. So what we've got a Mars and K2 conjunction. So K2, the dragon's tail, south node of the moon. They meet every 2 years. Mars has a 2-year orbit. Nothing particularly special about that. They're going to meet in Libra, sidereal sign of Libra, not the tropical. Mars and Libra, if there are other conjunctions, aspects present, this can indicate, stock market crashes. Historically, it happens that way a lot. And it's not only in Libra, it's at 0 degrees of Libra. So it's at one of the miracle degrees here. So that's a big deal. 0 Libra, that's like the cutoff point between the two halves of the zodiac. So you get the light side of the zodiac, the more superficial side, like Aries through Virgo. And then you've got the deeper side, the dark side, not dark like evil and sinister, but dark like more serious. The signs that make you deal with your deep emotions. So it's that hinge point in the zodiac. It's in the lunar mansion Vulcan, which is about superficiality, superficial things. It's about creating and enjoying beautiful things and enjoying the finery in life. But if that's your sole preoccupation, it means you're dealing with superficiality in your consciousness and you really can't see past the superficial. So Mars and K2 together, they've got a lot of wrecking ball power. So I think this is like indicating like a destruction of like superficiality in our world. Now this is also conjunct with the fixed star Spica, or people say Spica, but Spica, S-P-I-C-A. Spica is a fixed star. It's at 29 degrees of Virgo tropical. If you find a graphic with, the depiction of, the young woman who's the archetype of Virgo, Spica is on the sheaves of wheat that she's holding in her left hand. So the left hand's always interesting. It's related to the right brain, the intuition, the spiritual consciousness. And that those sheaves of wheat, it's basically, she's providing food, she's providing nourishment. So, and then with this actual star and the meanings of this star, Spica is like, it's a star that deals with fame, especially fame that comes through artistic pursuits and creative pursuits. So acting, writing, music, television, all that kind of stuff. Politicians, Libra deals with the give and take of politics. But then Spica deals with celebrities. In our times, politicians are celebrities. It's a big show. It's a big weapon of mass distraction. So I think this can speak to the destruction of celebrities and our superficial fixation on them and preoccupation with them. Now, what was the other thing I was going to say? God, I'm losing it today. I had some energy work done on me earlier. I think another thing here at this cusp, since Spica's in the last degree of Virgo deals with health, public health, medicines, poisons, healing, disease, all that stuff. So there's something here too in the world of public health where there's a potential where the public health institution and establishment kind of gets destroyed. Now, it's another thing too where, since Spica is on the sheaves of wheat that Virgo is holding, this could be having to do with, since it's Mars Ketu, and Mars Ketu, it significates things that, like, we've already been there and done that. We've already been victorious. You don't want to keep revisiting it. You just want to, like, move on. So this could basically mean, like, could deal with, like, poison coming from the public health establishment, the political establishment, things like that. And they're pushing their emotional and mental poison like usual. So yeah, there's a lot of possibilities with this. I mean, so this could affect people who've been needle crafted, but at the same time, I think it's another plan to consolidate more power that's probably going to blow up in their faces. So there's a lot of different ways you could take that conjunction, but it's not the end of the world. And the other thing too about 5G, there are way worse technologies that are being turned on all the time. And the thing is, the scientists, whether they're professional or amateur, they don't have access to the gear that measures the signals that these machines put out. There's like a giant version of HARP that's newer and more state-of-the-art down in Antarctica that shoots fucking neutrinos through the planet. So it's like, that makes 5G look like child's play. And it's like, well, where are the alternative media people freaking out about that? And it's like, well, they don't have the equipment to measure the signals, so they can't nerd out about it and share all their paranoid fantasies. All right. So that's that. I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for watching. Drop this video a like. I'd appreciate it. And see you later.